Well, I've told you I've received a lot of parcels today. This jumper was one of them. What else did I get this morning? I got the jumper, the advent calendar. I got a pair of shoes. Now then, you know I was telling you that I like hotter shoes. Well, every time I bought some hotter shoes, they had a sale in the summer. And the word was going around that Hotter was going to close. So I thought, oh, I'm going to get as many shoes as I can because of a particular style that I like. So I thought, right, I'm going to get them. And if his lordship, if I pop my clogs, he's going to open that door and go, what's she doing with 4 pairs exactly the same? I've got these. They're like a sand pink shoe with a plaited piece across the top. Put a picture up there for you to see. The very first, there's a story behind it, because the very first pair of Hotter shoes that I ever had, I bought from a charity shop. We had gone to Barnard Castle, which I'm going to make a trip to one day when we're out of this lockdown situation, and we were walking down the street. We'd been for a lunch somewhere, and I love going into charity shops. I love seeing what there is. And I walked into this charity shop, and he was browsing one area and I was browsing the other, and I saw this perfectly brand new pair of pink Hotter shoes, and they were my size, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get those. And I bought them, and when I put them on, they were like putting leather gloves on. Absolutely comfortable as anything. And it was at that point that I decided, right, I looked up Hotter and I liked them, so I bought another pair. Anyway, I had bought about 3 or 4 pairs of these Hotter shoes in the summer, and now, because I've done it online, I keep getting these things coming up on the top of me. Whenever I'm looking at eBay, whenever I'm looking at something else, you get these little adverts that come up at the top, and it keeps showing you Hotter shoes, and it was saying these are reduced to £19 from £75 to £19. So I looked them up, and every time I looked at them, it didn't have my size, and there were summer sandals. And so when I did find one that had my size, I thought, I'm going to get those. So I have bought 3 pairs of summer sandals. Is it 3 pairs or is it 4 pairs? For next summer. But I thought I'd let you see this pair that's just come today. I got these for £19, and aren't they lovely? The high heeled, I don't know whether I don't think I could wear those for very long, mind, but if I was going somewhere and I wanted to, I like this kind of colour. I like anything that makes your legs, that doesn't stand out too much on your feet. And so I bought these. They were £19, and a lot of the sizes are sold out. And I think what happens is somebody gets this sent, finds out the wrong size, sends them back, and so then that size comes up again. So this was one of the pairs that I got, and I'll put a picture up here of the other 2 pairs that I've got. If this COVID takes me away to another place and he opens the doors and says, golly, she's got all these shoes, I have a daughter and I have a stepdaughter who probably will be thrilled to have these, at least these high-heeled ones. So though that one, as I say, that one's called Hawaii, and it's dark tan, and I'll show you in the picture the other 2 that I got. Now then, I also want to tell you, I also ordered some. In January, we're planning to do a little bit of decoration, not a great deal, but I've got a couple of red walls, little in the alcoves in my sitting room. I've got red alcoves, and I want to make them blue. I want to do a dark inky blue on the alcoves, and we have, you may have caught eyes on it, but we have a lot of pictures that have got gold borders on them. So and I've got grey fern, I've got a grey sofa. So I went onto Spoonflower and I got some fabric. They printed themselves, and I'm going to make cushions for the sofas. And one is mustard tree, and the other one is rectangles in blue. They're by 2 different designers. Mustard tree is by Mod Fox, and rectangles in blue is by Kendra Shedenhelm. So and this is the fabric that I got. It's come all nicely wrapped. This is the fabric that I got. That's one. I'm going to make cushions out of them. and this is the other one. And I thought they're not too bad for matching. For there's going to be like the navy blue alcove, the gold borders on the picture frames, and I've got grey sofas, so that is like a greyish blue. So I think those will make some nice cushions. I'm hoping they do. It costs enough. I think I paid, it doesn't give me a price here. But, oh, it's made in Durham, just up the road from here. Well, I never. Spoonflower's got their base in Durham. Well, I never. That's interesting. So yes, this is what I've got to make the cushions. Then what else did I get? Did I get anything else? What did I get? I got that. I think that was it. I've done some dyeing today, and when I pulled one of the garments out, one of the things out, I went, oh, that is lovely. So when it gets dried and I get it ironed, I shall show you what I've dyed and see what I think I'm going to like it more. It's a garment that I've already made. I didn't like it, and I've dyed it, and I think I'm going to like it even more now. So it's now that bit. Which way are you looking? That bit there, or is it that bit there? That was yesterday, December the 3rd. Today's December the 4th. It's advent calendar time. It's flipping freezing. You can hear my thing banging on my door. My thermometer on my door. What's the temperature? 5 degrees centigrade, 38 Fahrenheit. It is cold by English standards. It was pouring all day today, and I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to come in here, and I didn't want to do anything. I've been doing orders, and I've had to put my gilet on because I was so cold. So, complete with gilet, you'll have to excuse me. Now then, it's advent calendar time, isn't it? And you all saying you're enjoying it. And I gather that in America, not many of you know about advent calendars. I actually saw a little Instagram video, and I can't remember who the lady was, but this lady had bought one in America. She didn't know what it was, and she opened them all at once, and she tipped them all out. They were beauty ones, and she tipped them all out, and she said, well, I thought I had to open them all in one go. And she said, and someone just told me you have to do it a day at a time. Bless her. So these are quite popular in England. A long time ago, long time ago, when my kids were little, they got something like this one, and they had to open the little flaps, and there was pictures behind them. But now we've gone up market, you can get some with chocolate behind them. Apparently my granddaughter's, I keep tickling my ears. My granddaughter's my daughter was telling me that they've got ones with, is it Cadbury's chocolate? Different types of Cadbury's chocolates inside. And as I say, I'm not a great eater of chocolates, so I don't really know what the chocolates are. Celebrations? Is it Celebrations? I think she said there were Celebrations. And so when they open them, there's a little chocolate for them on each. There are others where you get little toys behind them for kids. I was going to get a couple for my grandsons, but then I thought, no, they're just going to end up with all these little toys all over the place. But yes, so these are very popular, and they are getting bigger and better. You can get some... I've been watching a vlog from a lady who has bought herself a £250 Liberty one with perfumes and with creams and things in, and she was pulling one out yesterday, and it was a serum that I can't remember how many millilitres it was, but she looked it up and she said the actual full bottle is £250, and she said this bottle is worth £75, and she said I've got it in with this £250 package. So you get good deals with them. So when, you know, next Christmas, if you've missed out now, next Christmas, because you'll probably have missed out now because a lot of the stuff will be gone now. I ordered these things. That one I ordered 2 weeks ago. That one I ordered in October. September, October, and I was looking for other ones, but because we've had lockdown there weren't that many around. And then this one I got in October as well, so you have to get them early because they go very quickly. I found a couple that I really liked, but they'd gone. By the time I'd gone, I think I went about the middle of November and they'd gone. There weren't any. So pays to book to get them early. Anyway, let's start with the hemline one. Hemline one, day 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one here. Let's see if it'll work this time straight away for when I open it. Right, let's get you in focus. Are you ready? You can tell me before I open it what it is. Okay, let's get you in focus. There. Rintus Sanada. A retractable tape measure. I like reading it backwards because I can't read what it says. It's the old-fashioned writing I can't see. Retractable. I've had this one in before as well. But tape measures never come in wrong. Do you know, I have about 10 tape measures, and I came in here to measure the height of my desk because I fancy getting a chest of drawers to go underneath. Could I heck find a tape measure? I finally found one. One was on my little hut and silo. One was on here, this little thing that I used. You see how I've got it absolutely wedged up with all sorts of stuff there, with all my clips and a ruler and everything. I finally found one, but I've got about 10 of these rulers, these tape measures. I do not know where they've gone to. I think every time I look, I think his lordship takes them. So there's another. Oh, it's a beetle. It's a little beetle. Look at that. Can you see? You might be able to see. He's got a little head. He's got a little head. It's a busy bee. Not a beetle, a bee. A wasp. Ah, a wasp. A wasp, but that's lovely. Nice little tape measure. So that's number 4. Then I'll put my box back. Box back in there. Put that over there where it belongs. And we'll do the L'Occitane. And L'Occitane, we want... It's the 4th today, December the 4th. 4th, 4, 4, 4, 4, 13, 22, 1. Ah, there's 4. So I'll just break it with my fingers. Can I get it? Right. I think I've got it broken. Right. Do you want to see before me? You tell me what it is. Da, 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 da. What is it? It's another cream. It's another cream. If I can get it out. It is another cream. It doesn't tell you on the packet what that is, what they are. But it is Ultra Thirst Quenching Cream. Ultra Thirst Quenching Cream. I haven't ever used this one. It is a cream. Now let's see how good my English is. Just facial cream. It doesn't say when to use it, but let's open it up and see what it's like. Doesn't have much smell, but interesting. Don't know if you can see, just a cream, a white cream. It's just a white cream. Oh yes, it does have a smell. It's rather nice, that. Very subtle smell. So that is Aqua Reotier Ultra Thirst Quenching Cream. So that's that one. So I'll put them there like that to let you see. Can you see those? Can you see there? You can just see there. Next to my mess. So that's that one. Now then, we shall do Sherlock Holmes next. I gather you're all enjoying the Sherlock Holmes. I did ask his lordship if he wanted to come and join me on one, and he went, no. So we are on, I've actually missed one out because it's a riddle with numbers and a gingerbread, so I figured out you've got to look at it and work it out. So I figured I'd miss that out, and somewhere along the line I might try and bring it in later. And this is called Advent. Now I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to switch this off and I'm going to have a quick read. Right, so I've done a little run through, and we'll go and get back to where it was. Let's take this off, it's getting warm. I put my heater on and it's quite warm in here now. Right, it's called Advent. Just because Inspector Lestrade called it an inscrutable incident didn't mean another intellect couldn't try his luck. As far as Mr. Holmes was concerned, it was worth his while to take a look, and reason to put on his hat and coat on the evening of the 6th of December and hurry over to Brixton Street. My battery is about to go, so hang on. An unpleasant drizzle with cold northwesterly winds had cleared the streets of people. Near the front door of house number 4 lay the charred body of Mr. Allingham. The remains of this young man were clad in a singed Santa Claus costume. Mrs. Welkin, who saw it as her duty to keep an eye on the neighbourhood from dawn till dusk, was the only witness. "I'm telling you, Inspector, it was the devil himself. Mr. Allingham has been home for about a quarter of an hour, getting some rest between his calls. He makes so many children happy in that costume, you see, and when he came back out the door, he suddenly went up in flames. The devil must have come and taken his soul. I've never in my life." Lestrade looked so helpless in the face of this tirade that Holmes intervened. "Your powers of observation are admirable, my dear woman," he interrupted her. "It will certainly have been the devil's doing, as you say, if this mysterious death doesn't turn out to have a more worldly cause. Let's go in, shall we? Poor Mr. Allingham never had the opportunity to lock the door, his front door, which takes some work off our hands." His eyes were glued to the ground as he strode through the open front door. He intently studied an inconspicuous, dark-looking trail leading from the hall into the living room. He found himself in a confirmed bachelor's pad. The ash poured out of the fireplace. One arm of a damp, shiny armchair was turned towards the fire. At the other end of the room, the remains of a hurriedly eaten meal were still on the table. Mr. Holmes turned to the inspector with a contented-looking smile. "I thought so. We can let the devil off this time, Lestrade." Lestrade looked relieved. "So how did Mr. Allingham die, Mr. Holmes?" "Now, how did he die? I shall tell you at the end of this vlog." And we come to the British Isles at Christmas. And I was just telling you that the date, December the 4th, is this area here, which is Norfolk. And I came across a very interesting thing about Norfolk, which I must go and find because I want to tell you. I'm quite hot in here now. So if I'm going red, it's because I put the heater on in preparation, but it's a bit too hot. I can't find the piece that I wanted to read to you, but this is a piece that I've just tried to find very similar to it. I was telling you that part of my mother's side of the family comes from Norfolk area, which is one of those places I really don't like in England because it's fairly flat, but now I've been there, I do like it. This area here comprises of Norfolk and Suffolk, and I was looking at my ancestry. It told me that I did my DNA, and it sent me an email saying they've updated my DNA results, and in part of it was saying about where my family came from, which was Norfolk, and it tells you a bit about the workhouse or New World. And from 1825 to 1850, the workhouse or New World, paupers were a huge burden as more and more people sought poor relief or were forced to enter workhouses. A change to the Poor Law in 1834 implemented a number of reforms. Poor relief was only to be available at the workhouse, where conditions were deliberately worsened to discourage people from coming. Mothers of illegitimate children were given less support, and parishes were encouraged to help paupers emigrate. Norfolk helped more than 4,000 paupers on their way. Suffolk over 2,000 and Essex nearly 500. Norfolk sent more than any other place in England, with most going to British America. So there was an awful lot of English people went to British America. And I've just come across another piece which quite surprised me when I've just this second, because I couldn't find where I got that bit of information from, and I've just this second found this. And it's called Pauper Emigration Under the New Poor Law. And this is from the 1600s. So, the organised emigration of poor children dates back to at least 1619, when the London Common Council dispatched 100 vagrant children to join the first permanent English settlement in North America, Jamestown in Virginia. A further party was sent in 1620 and more followed in 1622 to join the reinforcements sent following the Indian massacre of the settlers in Virginia. From the mid-1600s, the demand for labour in British colonies led to the illegal emigration of hundreds of children through their spiriting or kidnapping, a practice particularly associated with Scotland. This ended in 1757 after a number of Aberdeen businessmen and magistrates were exposed for their involvement in the trade. So kids, little children, were being kidnapped and stolen and taken to America to work and for labour. They were taken to America. So isn't that amazing? Something I didn't know. I've never been into history until lately, and I keep finding all these stories and I think, oh my God, goodness me. I promised myself that I'm going to find out as much of the history of England and as much of the history of France, because I'm half English, half French, and then eventually I shall do a bit more about the history of all over the rest of the world, but little bit at a time. Anyway, I digressed an awful lot there. We went on holiday. We live there. We live there, and we went on holiday down here and round there to here. And number 4 was only about 10 miles away from where we were staying. And let me find number 4, because a lot of you in England will know what number 4 is. A lot of you in England will know what number 4 is, but those of you who don't, let's see if you can read it. Sandringham Estate. Sandringham Estate, you might ask yourself. What is Sandringham Estate? Well, that is where the Queen spends most of her time. The Queen lives in, look at how beautiful it is. I've never been. I wanted to go this time, but I think we're going to have to go next time, because Liz, who we went on holiday with, but who spent all her time upstairs in the attic working and only went out on the evenings. I'm going red with this heat. She said she'd been there, so we didn't want to go. But it's where the Queen spends, where she basically lives. She lives in 3 residences. She lives in Sandringham. She lives in, not in Buckingham Palace, that's more of a, for people to go and see. She lives in Windsor Castle, and she lives sometimes at Balmoral. Sandringham is here, and number 4 says, Sandringham is the Norfolk country retreat of Her Majesty the Queen, and is usually where she will record her annual Christmas speech. So when you see the Queen's speech, those of you who do watch it, that's where she is. Prince William his house is not far from there, I believe that. I shall find out for you. And just so you can see, the red dot is where Prince William lives, and the end of the line is where the Queen lives, and there's only 6 minutes between them. So when William goes to see the Queen, it only takes him 6 minutes to see Granny. And just to let you see, this is the bottom half of England, and the Queen lives up here, up there, and Prince Charles lives down there. 3 hours 35 minutes away from her. So not next door like William. She can't pop in for a cup of tea with Mum. Or as Debbie who worked for us says, William will be going to see Queenie when he wants a cup of coffee and a chat. So I'm going to finish now by telling you who did it. And this was the Advent. This is Sherlock Holmes speaking. Let us reconstruct his final few moments. When he came home between 2 bookings to eat a well-deserved spoonful of porridge, he was tired and soaked through on this wet and windy day. He wanted to dry out his cold, wet costume as soon as possible. So he took off his damp coat and hung it over the arm of a chair next the fire. This was how the inner lining ended up dangling in some hot ashes that had fallen out of the fire. The inconspicuous trail leading to the front door was made by charcoal being dragged along the floor under the hem of his coat. The coat was so thick and heavy it didn't catch fire. It started to smoulder instead due to the lack of oxygen. It wasn't until Mr. Allingham left the house and turned around to lock the front door that a strong gust of wind lifted the hem of his coat and it literally burst into flames, bringing his life to an abrupt end. I'm afraid some children will be waiting for their presents in vain today. So there you go. It was a piece of coal and a good strong bit of wind when he got out the door. So I'm going to love you, and I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to catch you next time. Well, fingers crossed it's tomorrow. Tomorrow being Saturday, the day after being Sunday, which we wouldn't, of course, you know. I'm hoping that I will be able to get 2 out. It just depends on what we've got planned. Not that we've got much to go on and do lately. I have to say, I haven't been out yet, even though, no, was I out? Have I been out? I can't remember. I don't think I've been out since lockdown's come down. But I was just saying to his lordship, you know, the other day, I have to say that with wearing a mask and staying indoors, I have never had a cold, I've never had a cough, I've never had anything. And so I think they're saying that the flu, nobody's catching the flu as bad. So I was saying to his lordship that when all this is over, but it won't be over because COVID will still be there, COVID will still be mutating, and COVID will be like flu, it will come back year after year after year, so we have to be prepared. We may have to have a different way of life. But I was just saying to him that I might start wearing masks a lot more in the winter just to keep the cold and the germs from me when I go into shop. I can see why in China all these people who come from the Far East wear masks, because whenever I go through London to go and visit my daughter and I see all these people from the Far East, they all used to have their masks on, and I used to think, what on earth are they doing that for? But now I know. You don't catch as much when you're wearing a mask, so I am thankful that I have been wearing a mask. So until the next time, I'm going to love you and I'm going to leave you, and I'll see you, fingers crossed, tomorrow.